Right now on KCOY 12 News at 5, new developments in the Refugio oil spill and the proposal to truck oil up the coast by ExxonMobil. We have the final decision. Then a drug bust in Vandenberg Village, what we now know about the undercover investigation and what investigators are now waiting on. And it was light but welcome. Rain hits the Central Coast. Jason Stiff has your weather totals and if it'll stick around. KCOY 12 Central Coast News at 5 starts now.
Breaking news into our newsroom. Request denied. That was the final decision from Santa Barbara County on EXXON'S proposal to truck oil following the Refugio oil spill. The request could have put nearly 200 trucks on the road every day while the pipeline is still being worked on. The company had applied for an emergency permit after the spill, claiming the pipeline shut down could put other oil operations at risk. In denying the request, the county cited a lack of evidence that defined emergency exists. Those opposed to the plan said the possibility of a trucking accident posed too big of a risk. Trucking routes would have passed through parts of Santa Maria and other parts of Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Paula Lopez.
And I'm Scott Hennessy. On May 19th, more than 100,000 gallons of crude oil spilled onto the land and in the ocean at Refugio State Beach. Since then, 1,200 people have responded to help clean up and monitor the area. KCOY 12's Victoria Sanchez flew over the site this morning to see how it looks 3 weeks later.
All right, we're ready.
The first place Mark Roble wanted to fly over, the natural oil seeps off Goleta Beach. Roble works with Clean Seas, one of the oil spill response teams brought in to help clean up after the Refugio spill. The rainbow-colored slicks bubble up from underneath the water. He says some of his boats were sent here to clean up this oil.
The actual spilled oil, from my perspective, was probably picked up in the first couple, 3 days. And the days to follow, protecting the beaches from the natural seeps that were making their way west.
After the oil stopped flowing from the site of the broken pipeline and beaches were being cleaned up, Roble says keeping the shores free of black tar was important.
To allow them to be re-oiled wasn't a great perspective.
The black spots you see here are from underwater plants called kelp. Refugio Beach is no stranger to tar balls. The Spills Joint Information Center says the beach occasionally sees oil wash up on shore. Most of Roble's cleanup boats have now gone, saying much of the free-floating oil was collected. But crews continue to scour the shore for black oil stuck on rocks, soiled sand, and affected sea life. Reporting from Refugio Beach, Victoria Sanchez, KCOY 12 Central Coast News.
New photos here just into our newsroom. Our first look at the piece of pipeline that ruptured. These images come from the Santa Barbara County Department of Planning and Development. On the day crews uncovered and removed the pipe, KCOY 12 and other media cameras were banned from being there to document this process. In fact, just a few days ago, our cameras were also banned when Congresswoman Lois Capps toured the spill site. So these images are the first and only images of the pipe's condition as it came out of the ground. We have reports the pipe was corroded and worn very thin with a 6-inch gash in it.
Well, it may have been light, but certainly welcome. We're talking about the rain that came down today on the Central Coast.
Take a look at some of this video from earlier today. This is from AVILA Beach. Coming down right there along the main strand. You can see it on the side view mirror. Varying amounts depending on what part of the central or south coast that you were on. Some places got quite a bit of it. Let's check in with our meteorologist, Jason Stiff, for some rain totals. Jason.
Yes, indeed. The south coast did very well from this storm, the remnants of what was Hurricane Blanca. A lot of places between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. We had 4,600 in Santa Barbara, a record-breaking 1/4 inch. Amazing to say that amount for a record breaker at Goleta. But as you can see, Santa Maria, San Luis Obispo, Paso Robles, a trace to only 3/100 of an inch, and the cutoff was really the area around Gaviota. If you lived west or northwest of Gaviota, generally less than 1/10 of an inch. Areas to the east and the southeast, more like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, even close to 3/4 of an inch. You can see a live storm tracker, certainly much more active for the south central and southeastern parts of Santa Barbara County, as well as Ventura County. As we look at futurecast, a lot of the areas of rain are going to go away fairly quickly. We'll have fewer clouds overnight tonight. tonight. Most of our chances for rain are going away as well, and the clouds really did a number on the temperatures too. 70s and 80s where we had less rain, mainly 60s and lower 70s in our wetter areas on the south coast. Tonight, fewer clouds, only isolated showers with lows mainly in the 50s. Stay tuned. I'll give you more details about how much more rain we can expect in your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jason. More than a year after drought relief money was given to the state, a new report shows that money still has not been used. That's according to a new report by the Associated Press. More than $320 million was supposed to be rushed to California communities. That relief package was meant to help provide water, protect wells, and upgrade water systems. But nearly half of that money still has not been given out or spent, indicating the slow process within the government, even in a crisis. State officials acknowledge the slow pace, but they say they want to make sure the money is being used wisely.
One man is behind bars tonight after Santa Barbara Sheriff's deputies discovered hundreds of pills and chemicals they say were part of a drug-making lab. It happened in Vandenberg Village. Today, people in the neighborhood say they are on alert. Natalie Tavidian has more.
Neighbors say it's usually a quiet neighborhood.
There was like a fire truck across the street.
So when Judy Dominguez saw sheriff's detectives, a hazmat crew, and people from the Department of Justice on her street, she didn't know what to expect.
I thought maybe somebody had gotten, needed medical attention.
But it was a probation search on the 3800 block of Mesa Circle in Vandenberg Village. 33-year-old Qadre Mohammed Salim was arrested on a felony no bail warrant. That means he won't be able to post bail while he goes to trial. Inside his apartment on Mesa Circle, detectives say they found potentially dangerous chemicals and suspect it was a drug-making lab.
And they evacuated people due to the danger of explosion. Taking the dog for a walk.
Judy walks her dog up and down this street almost every day.
When you see a sheriff, it's extremely rare. You know, and people look because it's just so unusual.
She's glad nobody was hurt and the chemicals were safely removed.
Nobody was talking about this whatsoever.
In this neighborhood, Judy says most people know one another. She's stunned nobody suspected this.
If they had a suspicion, they would be talking. I would have known by now.
The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office says right now those chemicals are being tested, and depending on what they find, there could be additional charges.
New information tonight in the Santa Maria officer-involved shooting that happened Friday night. We now know the identities of the victim who was stabbed to death on the 300 block of West Williams. She is 41-year-old Teresa Meza of Santa Maria. The stabbing happened last Friday. Police were called out to a home after reports of a domestic dispute. When they got to the house, the suspect threatened the officers and was seen with a weapon, and that's when cops fired, killing the suspect. Those officers are now on paid leave as the investigation continues.
Some scary moments in Washington, D.C. today after the Secret Service interrupted a live press briefing in the White House briefing room. It happened just before noon today. Journalists were evacuated the James Brady briefing room. The officers would not say what prompted the evacuation, and the White House had no immediate information about the incident. The Secret Service came and searched the room with dogs before the room was cleared for safety. Journalists were allowed to return a short time later. In New York, the search for two convicted killers is now focused on a small New York town. Authorities are actively searching for Richard Matt and David Sweat in farms and fields in the southern part of Willsboro. The town supervisor says investigators zeroed in on that area after a resident reported seeing two suspicious men. Willsboro is about 30 miles from the prison where the inmates escaped. The two inmates were able to escape from a New York prison using power tools. One prison employee is being questioned as authorities try to determine if the two had help escaping.
The Texas officer who was videotaped drawing his gun on unarmed teens and pushing a teenage girl to the ground has resigned. You may remember this video that's drawn national attention. Officer David Casebolt resigned today after almost 10 years on the force. The 41-year-old former Texas state trooper was on administrative leave after the incident. The Texas police chief is calling Casebolt's actions indefensible. Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert pleaded not guilty in federal court today. Hastert is accused of trying to hide hush money payments and lying about it to the FBI. Prosecutors say Hastert agreed to pay someone more than $3 million to cover up past sexual misconduct. The former House Speaker worked as a teacher and coach in Illinois before turning to politics. He served as House Speaker from 1999 to 2007.
Well, new tonight, the fight to stop an RV campsite continues in Avila Beach. A group of concerned neighbors have now collected more than 200 signatures to put a hold on the development. Sherry Danoff supports this petition. She says she's not against the RV campsite or any other type of development. She's just concerned about the potential traffic that could come with it.
I think that's our biggest concern, that the county has chosen for Avila area to have a traffic impact analysis only on a Tuesday in early May. And
the petition addresses the large amount of development in Avila Beach. Tonight at 6, hear what the San Luis Obispo County has to say about those concerns.
Local law enforcement officers braved today's wet weather and joined together to form one team. As KCOY 12's Dave Alley reports, they all put on their running shoes to help support a special group of athletes.
A little wet weather did little to dampen the spirit for this year's Law Enforcement Torch Run.
Oh no, our officers and agencies, they don't stop for rain. They go nonstop.
Hi guys, have a good run. Dozens of local officers are helping to carry the torch to its final destination, this weekend's Special Olympics Southern California Summer Games at Long Beach State.
All of us get together for one cause, run the torch through the entire county, through the state, and it's an event unlike no other. There's no other opportunity to do something like this.
Officers say they draw inspiration from Special Olympians and carry the flame with a purpose.
It goes a long way to helping out the kids that are out there working hard, practicing, getting out, and competing in the Special Olympics.
The torch run also serves as an important fundraiser with $55,000 raised in northern Santa Barbara County alone.
The money that they raise goes directly back to our athletes to support them, to send them to competitions, provides the uniforms, the meals, everything that we provide to them at no cost.
The torch run is especially exciting this year because it comes just ahead of the Special Olympics World Games, which are all set to take place next month in Los Angeles.
It's great to see the prelude and build the excitement for World Games, which is taking place in July. Opening ceremonies takes place at the Coliseum July 25th, which is going to be pretty spectacular.
The World Games will soon bring another torch through the Central Coast. That flame will pass through the area on Friday, July 17th. Dave Alley, KCOY 12, Central Coast News.
A popular Santa Maria sports complex is celebrating a big day today. We'll take you out live to Hagerman's, and we'll tell you why it's so important to the community.
And the Women's World Cup kicked off yesterday, and the USA has a big win under its belt. We'll bring you the highlights next.
Live, Scott Hennessy, Paula Lopez, and meteorologist Jason Stiff. KCOY 12, Central Coast Local News. Live at 5.